Okay, so I got a couple of MMA news stories to cover in this video. First, gonna be going over this fake RDR account that is still somehow trolling people. Don't know why they keep following it. Some people on the internet are just dumb. Like, come on. Next, Chito Vera. Gonna be talking about him. I do not like his attitude recently with the Sean O'Malley fight, with this fight, with the figure loss, and even with his former fights too. Like, you realize Chito has always been a salty platoon. Next, I'm gonna be talking about Bo Nickal, and he got an interview with Ariel Helwani. I'm going to be talking about really matchups for him. That's really all I'm going to be talking about. He says he's humbled. Don't really believe it, but we'll get into that. But first, I just wanted to cover this because this is hilarious to me. Like, some fake guy just made an RDR account, said "shut up, rat" to Chimaev. Chimaev responds. He's a little butthurt. Probably, I don't know. Like, this is just funny to me. But he responds, "You better cry, baby, because you give up." Poo emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji, and it's like, how long? Like, how long until he deletes this tweet? Or maybe he just won't. But I wonder when these middleweights will just realize this isn't RDR, little bro. Like, they actually think this is RDR. He doesn't have a Twitter account. This is funny. I wonder how many other fighters don't have Twitter accounts that people will just start making fake accounts to just troll fighters, because this seems hilarious because they just buy everything. It's probably because, to be fair to Chimaev, he's probably not on the internet too much, probably just training all day, but still, that is funny that he got by some random, probably 15-year-old kid, that's just funny to me. But next, let's get into the actual news. No fake RDR account. Chito Vera, he's salty about his loss. Listen, I thought Chito Vera won that fight. I called that fight a robbery. It was close. I'm gonna stick by my guns. I do think that fight was a robbery. I think Chito Vera won rounds 1 and 2, dropped in the second. That was obvious. The first fight was close. I mean, the first round was close, and Chito Vera was walking him down, hitting him with shots. So I thought Chito Vera won that fight, and I thought they screwed him over in that fight, which sucks for him because now I get why he's salty. He's going to be fighting some unranked bantamweight, and I kind of feel for him because he's been having these close fights. I mean, not really close fights, but he's been on this skid. Lost to Figgy. He needed this win. You're literally fighting someone that looks like Ariel Helwani, and I do want to say this. There is just something funny. Like, I don't know if this is a like humiliation ritual, but you fought someone who looks like Ariel Helwani, and now you're forced to be interviewed by Ariel Helwani. You're being forced to not forced, I'm talking like he's held hostage, but he's being interviewed by someone who looks like he just beat him. But like, he looks like the guy who just beat him in a robbery, in my opinion, which is funny to me. I wonder what's going on through Cheeto's head. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't see the resemblance, but that would be funny if Cheeto just snaps at Ariel. But anyways, yeah, he's salty, saying he nearly slapped the judges, and I get it because I do think he won, but still, this is still Cheeto's fault. Even though he won, I'm still saying it's Cheeto's fault because he has made this mistake time and time again. He just doesn't do enough, and he lets fights slip through his fingers because he's not active. He walks forward with like a mean face on, throws 5 punches around, and yes, he was more active in this fight, and he did hurt Zahabi, but the thing with Cheeto is, if he doesn't hurt you badly or rock you, you can easily steal rounds off him because he throws a couple punches. You just need to be more active and you win. Like, if you have good cardio and a smart game plan, you can beat Chito Vera. Cruz was beating Cheeto before he got KO'd. So Rob Font had a lot of moments against Cheeto too. It's just he's not active enough, but he can hurt you at any moment, which does make him dangerous. But still, against these smart fighters, it's just hard for him to win. Like, if you have good footwork and he can't really hit you out of the 5 shots he throws, you're gonna win a round. You're gonna win rounds off him, and you're gonna beat him. And that's just the Cheeto Vera problem. And I do think he'll do well still. I don't think he's out of his prime. I don't like these guys who, when a fighter loses, they say he's out of their prime. Like Izzy, for example. Even though he is slipping now and a little out of his prime now, but still, like, these fighters, they lose a few. It's less of them being out of their prime, and it's more of they're fighting better competition, or their style isn't as, it's not the meta right now, to put it in as best terms as I can. It's not the meta. I'm sorry. Throwing 5 punches and hoping to hurt him to steal a round is, you're not going to win a lot of fights if you're fighting someone decent. Yes, I think Cheeto, he's probably going to fight someone unranked now. Cheeto's a big name. They're probably going to use him to leapfrog some, young contender who has a lot of promise. Chito Vera is probably going to KO him, because he's still good. Then we'll talk about Chito again, but still, there are some good fights for him. I like Chito, even though he is salty. I get it, dude. Like, but dude, and the thing is, it's also his coaches. Someone close to him needs to tell him that, dude, you are not doing enough. And he did more in his last fight, but it still isn't enough. It's better, but he has a serious problem, and it annoys me too because it's not even a cardio problem, where like, oh, he has a history of getting tired, so he's kind of he's got PTSD, so he doesn't want to get tired. So he there was a couple of punches, but it's like, dude, you have good cardio. You can afford to let your hands go. You can afford to learn a fucking jab, bro. Like he throws power punches and power kicks. Every punch or kick he throws is to KO your opponent. You don't have to KO your opponent in any punch you throw. You don't have to throw maximum power. Like learn a jab. Feel someone out with a jab. Pause. Learn a teep. I feel like Cheeto would have a really good teep. He has really long legs. I think a teep would do great for him, and he should be using weapons like that instead of just like power punch, power kick. Oh no, I lost a fight because I do nothing. But that's enough of my little Cheeto rant. He just annoys me because I like him, but he is a frustrating fighter to watch, to say the least. Next, Bo Nickal. He reflected on his RDR loss, says it humbled me, but I'm not really sure I buy that because literally in the same interview, he he you know he doesn't back down on what he said to Hamza Chimaev. He kind of backtracks a little bit, like he says, "Oh no, I meant in a wrestling match I beat him." You did not say that. Like we all know what Bo Nickal meant. He meant he'd beat him in an MMA fight in the UFC. He said he'd be a minus like 2,000 favorite against him or something like that. So it's like we know what he meant. Come on. Um, so yeah, he's saying it humbled him. I'm not too sure on that. He also did say he'd be open, or he'd be open to being the first fight on the prelims, which I think is a good energy to have because he was leapfrog. Like he fought on the main card for UFC 300 while Jiri Prochazka was stuck on the prelims, going to war with Rakic, and Bo Nickal is out here like, fighting some nobody on the main card of the biggest card in like forever. So like he is gonna turn a lot of fighters, not fighter. He's gonna turn a lot of fans off to him because we like Jiri, bro, and he should have been on the make card. But still, it isn't his fault. He fought RDR, wasn't good enough, lost. RDR is a good fighter for him. He's not. He sucks. RDR sucks. I made a whole video on that. Every single middleweight sucks. They're all bad. They're all bad. If you see a good middleweight, he's not a good fighter. He's just better than the rest. That's just I'm gonna say it. So but yeah, it's not even like RDR is a good fighter. He's just better than Bo Nickal. He's just less shit than Bo Nickal. Whitaker, same thing with Whitaker. RDR beat Whitaker, and at that time, Bo Nickal's loss to RDR was aging good, but then RDR just crumbled. He did fight 5 times in the year. In a year, I do. That is definitely relevant, but still, he lost to that guy. So, at first I was like, dude, Bo Nickal can actually maybe get in the top 10. Like, RDR can become a champion. And if RDR becomes a champion, Bo Nickal, yeah, he did get KO'd by him, but leading up to the KO, there were some worrying moments for Bo Nickal, but still, he was doing decent, I guess. Not really, but kind of. He was being competitive at least. So that's that. But there are a few good fights for him. Definitely, I don't think he should be fighting anyone ranked. He lost to RDR, and RDR just lost to Allen. If he beat Allen, I would have been like, maybe you give him someone ranked. But there's actual contenders who deserve someone ranked. Like he already got leapfrogged, and you failed. You shouldn't get leapfrogged again against someone who's just not as good as the last person you were leapfrogged to fight. But even though not RDR, they were close in the rankings at the time, but still, like you got your opportunity, you failed. You need to at least win one. You're a big star, or relatively to unranked middleweights, he's a big star. So, or a star at least, a name. Let me not fucking glaze him, call him a star, but he is a name. So if he wins one fight, he could get someone ranked, and I'm gonna be talking about who I think he should fight. First up, dude. Hey, boy, hey, listen, not doing any favors for Bo Nickal. One of the guys who maybe he should fight. If I'm the UFC, I'm making this fight. Because I just think it'd be hilarious to see Gregory Rodriguez, who completely dwarfs Bo Nickal. I'm not sure. He's a big guy, actually. I'm not sure exactly how tall he is. Maybe 6'3". Bo Nickal's like, I don't know, 6'1" or something. I'm not sure. But Bo Nickal's chubby at middleweight. I was gonna be like, maybe he should go down to welterweight, but I take that back because middleweight is a terrible division. Everyone in middleweight sucks. So if you go down to welterweight, you're going to get completely trashed on. Even though Bo Nickel isn't completely undersized at middleweight, he is, I think welterweight is a better weight class for him, but the competition is just so much better. Like you're fighting, like there are some terrible fighters at middleweight. Dude, Marvin Vettori is ranked. And I know D-Rod is ranked too, but D-Rod's better than Vettori, so. And I actually do think D-Rod beats Bo Nickel. Letterman's skill, and he has good scrambles and good boxing. I think D-Rod unironically KOs Bo Nickel in like round two. So, if D-Rod can do that, imagine what fucking RoboCop can do. He would probably kill Bo Nickel, and I'm all there for it. I think that would be hilarious to see Bo Nickel try and take down G-Rod, not G-Rod. Fuck, that's his new name, G-Rod, RoboCop. It would be hilarious to just see him try and take him down, and then he fails, and he's on his knees. RoboCop gets back up. Bo Nickel like looks up, slowly gets up, just completely defeated in his face, and then G-Rod. Why do I keep calling him G-Rod? RoboCop KOs him. That would be hilarious. I would be 100% there. I have a feeling the UFC is not going to make this fight because they like Bo Nickel, and he does only have one loss. So against RDR, so I feel like they're still going to give Bo Nickel some opportunities. But still, if you don't look good, dude, you're getting fed to RoboCop, and you're going to get KO'd for our entertainment. Next fight, more realistic fight for Bo Nickel. Cal Dawkins just coming off a win against Michelle Pereira. Looked good. It was a really fast KO. Like KO'd Michelle Pereira in like 20 seconds, which is impressive because yes, Pereira has looked not the best. He hasn't. But that was in like the second, third round, fourth, the later rounds when he gets tired. But in the first round, Michelle Pereira has always looked at least a little bit good. And Kyle Dawkins KO'd him in 20 seconds. So that is impressive. And he is unranked, and people know who Kyle Dawkins is, especially coming off that KO win against Michelle Pereira. So I think Dawkins versus Bo Nickel I think that's a good fight. They're both unranked. Kyle Dawkins, if he can KO Bo Nickel or just beat him in a decision, he can be starting to ask for someone ranked, because two wins, Michelle Pereira and Bo Nickel, those are really good wins to have, and he would have a case to fight for a ranking. So it makes sense for Kyle Dawkins, and it makes sense for Bo Nickel because he has this humble attitude. If you really want to be humble, you're gonna fight Kyle Dawkins. You're not gonna fight someone ranked. You're fighting Kyle Dawkins. So, and if he can get a win, people would respect that. It'd be his best win. Like if he can beat Kyle Dawkins, it would actually be his best win. So, yeah, you should fight Kyle Dawkins. Another name I just want to mention real quick. I don't think the UFC is gonna make it at all. That's why I didn't even bother having a picture of him. Is Magomedov, Ginger Pirate, Guru's clone. Um, I do think that's, if I'm Bo Nickel, I'd be asking for that fight. If I was Bo Nickel's manager, I'd be like, let's try and get that fight. I don't think it's going to happen at all because it's pretty clear what the UFC is doing with Shara Magomedov. They're giving him only strikers, only in his country, so I don't think they're going to give him Bo Nickel. I'd be surprised, honestly. I'd be all for it. They're both, decently big names for unranked middleweights. They're actually both pretty big names for unranked middleweights. Two of the biggest, probably, actually. So it would be a good fight matching them up, but I do get why the UFC wouldn't, just because, like, they want them to both be their own stars. They'd rather not kill one of them off, So I do get that. Give, Magomedov his, shitty strikers. Let him get some highlight reels. And then maybe Bo Nickel, give him some decent fights so then he can earn a ranked opponent. So I do get that, but still, I would like to see it. But I think Bo Nickel would also, I think he'd beat Shar Magomedov. Magomedov has really weak grappling, and I don't know, he just has weak grappling. So I do trust in Bo Nickel being able to take him down, but still, it would be interesting because he does have really good striking. Bo Nickel, he did quit in his last fight. He quit against the quitter RDR, which says something that is worrying. You can't just glaze over that or gloss over it. I mean, he did get KO'd by him and he did wilt. It's not only that he got KO'd, shit happens. He wilted to body shots against the cage. I will not get that picture out of my head of Bo Nickel being against the cage, grimacing tip tappity body shots. Like that's just embarrassing. That is embarrassing. But yeah, I think he'd still probably beat Magomedov though, just because of his grappling weakness. I think Kyle Dawkins would beat Bo Nickel too, to be honest. And I think Robocop would kill Bo Nickel, and that's why I want to see it because I'm kind of evil, but that would be funny. And never know. Bo Nickel was a really good grappler, so it's not like he has no chance against Robocop, but it's just that I trust in Robocop's power. I trust in him being able to KO you. Like if RDR can KO you on the feet, I think Robocop is gonna do some dirty things to you, to say the least. But yeah, that's it. Not a lot of news. There's not a lot of news when I'm literally talking about a fake RDR account and some tweets he's making. There's not a lot of news, but I gotta talk about something. So yeah, see you in the next one.